Exactly.
Yeah, it's that, stepping up to the game, living life prepared, I'm not here for the fame. With a plan in my hand, gotta make it alright. Through the storms and the struggles, I'm ready to fight. Prepare for the worst while I aim for the best. That's unique prepping, we're reaching new heights. Living strong and ready, we're chasing the lights. With courage as armor, we'll conquer the day. Together we rise, we'll fight our own way. Stacking knowledge and skills, I'm building my base. In this world of chaos, I'm finding my space. No fear in the hustle, I'm sharpening my tools. When the world brings the waves, I'm breaking the rules. Stand tall, keep grinding, never lose sight. Yeah, that's unique prepping, we're reaching new heights. Living strong and ready, we're chasing the lights. With courage as armor, we'll conquer the day. Together we rise, we'll find our own way. We'll find our own way. Stand tall, keep grinding, never lose sight. Stacking knowledge and skills, I'm building my base. In this world of chaos, I'm finding my space. No fear in the hustle, I'm sharpening my tools. When the world brings the waves, I'm breaking the rules. Stand tall, keep grinding, never lose sight. Never lose sight. Yeah, stand tall, keep grinding, never lose sight. Lift brick every chain, with Zach in the lead. We'll never feel pain, never feel pain, never feel pain. With Zach in the lead, we'll never feel pain, never feel pain, never feel pain. With Zach in the lead, we'll never feel pain. With Zach in the lead, we'll never feel pain. With Zach in the lead, we'll never feel pain. We'll never feel pain. We'll never feel pain. We'll never feel pain.
Out on the road, or safe at home. Life can turn on the dime when you're on your own. But there's a light, guiding hands act here to show you how to make a stand.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unique Prepping, where innovation meets preparation, and everyone's unique abilities come together to build a stronger, united community. Unique Prepping exists to empower individuals to embrace their unique strengths and abilities while preparing for the challenges of tomorrow. Our channel is about more than just survival, it's about thriving in every aspect of life. We focus on practical prepping, from mastering gardening and sustainable living to honing essential survival skills, fostering a spirit of self-reliance, and building meaningful connections with like-minded individuals who share the same goals. Why unique? Because we believe that everyone, regardless of their circumstances or abilities, has something valuable to contribute to the prepping community. We are here to break down barriers, challenge limitations, and show that preparation is for everyone. This is a space where creativity meets practicality, and where we celebrate the diverse talents and perspectives that make us stronger together. It's not about fitting into a mold. It's about embracing what makes each of us special and leveraging those strengths to overcome challenges. Here, we don't just prepare for the future, we embrace it with open arms and open minds, crafting a lifestyle that values self-reliance, resilience, and the spirit of unity. Whether it's growing our own food, building essential skills, or navigating life's challenges with unique abilities, we're here to show that nothing can hold us back. Our goal is to equip you with the tools, strategies, and confidence needed to tackle life's uncertainties head-on and emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared than ever. In this journey, we strive to empower you with knowledge, inspire you with ideas, and unite us all through a shared mission, to be ready, to be resourceful, and to be resilient. Together, we can face any storm, rise above any obstacle, and shine light on the path forward. Through collaboration and determination, we can create a community where everyone feels valued and supported, where no challenge is too great, and where the bonds we build stand the test of time. So, let's gear up, get creative, and continue this incredible journey of prepping, learning, and growing as a community. This is Unique Prepping, where every step we take is a step towards a brighter and more secure tomorrow. It's more than just a channel, it's a movement, a way of life, and a promise to face the future together. Are you ready? Let's dive in and get started. At Unique Prepping, we're all about building stronger communities and preparing for the unexpected. Now, we're taking our mission even further by partnering with Stolen Spirits, a powerful initiative focused on raising awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Together, we're blending preparedness with advocacy, shining a light on the issues that matter most. Join us as we unite for a cause, inspire change, and build a future where every voice is heard and every life is valued. Unique Prepping and Stolen Spirits, stronger together.
Greetings.
Son of a...
Good
Sorry.
evening, our prepping community, and welcome to the 30th installment of Unique Prepping's community. On tonight's episode, we will be discussing movies and shows that have showed us the future and why we should prepare. I'm your host, producer and community member Unique Prepping, and with me are my brothers and our community members Buff from SICK2210 Productions, Dan from the Daily Dan blog, and Tug from the Unapologetic Geek. Down in the description below, I put their channel links. Please go subscribe and keep this community growing. Before we begin, how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, honestly. I got a brand new internet now, and I think I'm probably coming in clearer than usual because of it. I went from getting a 25 meg speed to a 500, so I feel a lot better.
Greetings.
I'm
from
stuck in...
South- Greetings from South Carolina. How you everybody doing? It's good to be here. It's my first time being on the show with Zach. I'm excited, but I'm a little disappointed. Every time I've ever turned this show on with Zach, there's been a bunch of Zach's angels in here. It's been full of girls. And the one time I show up, Zach plays the sausage.
Hey everybody, I'm stuck in Toma, Wisconsin. So, yeah, good times. Be here for about a day and a half. Nah, it's all right, though. I got a Denny's. But thankfully, there's a Culver's across the street. So
We had a saying when I was in college. It was, nobody goes to Denny's. They wind up at Denny's.
yeah. They just happen to be on a lot of truck stops here lately. I don't know why.
That's weird.
Oh,
And bad enough the TA truck stops, they used to have a place called Country Pride.
That's
Yeah.
good, and I'm doing good tonight. Thank you for joining me on a topic that most people talk about. In today's episode, we're diving into something a little different but still very relevant to the world of preparedness, movies and TV shows that have shown us why being ready for the unexpected is so important. From post-apocalyptic wastelands to government collapses and survival in extreme conditions, Hollywood has given us plenty of examples of what could go wrong and how people might survive. Some of these films and series are purely fiction, but many hold valuable lessons that we as preppers can learn from. Think about it. How many times have you watched a movie where a character was caught off guard by disaster and thought, that could have been avoided with the right preparation? Whether it's a lack of food and water, no plan for self-defense, or complete dependence on a failing system, these stories often highlight the very reasons why we prepare. While entertainment might dramatize things, the core messages in many of these movies and shows can serve as real wake-up calls. In this episode, we'll break down some of the most impactful films and TV series that have given us a glimpse into survival scenarios. We'll discuss what they got right, what they exaggerated, and most importantly, what we can take away from them to improve our own preparedness. Some of these examples might even remind you of real-world events, reinforcing the idea that what seems like fiction today could become reality tomorrow. Prepping isn't just about stockpiling supplies, it's about mindset, adaptability, and having the knowledge to navigate difficult situations.
Oh, gross. People eating people on an airplane? My God.
Movies and shows can serve as an interesting way to spark conversations about these topics, giving us a way to analyze different survival strategies, mistakes, and decisions from the comfort of our own homes. But at the end of the day, the question remains, if faced with a similar situation, would you be ready? As we go through this discussion, we encourage you to engage with us in the comments. What movies or shows made you think about preparedness in a new way? Have you ever adjusted your prepping plans based on something you saw in a film or series? Your input is always valuable, and we love hearing different perspectives from the community. Before we get started, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who might find this discussion helpful. Also, don't forget to check out our LinkTree, where you can find everything related to unique prepping, from our social media pages to additional resources that can help you on your preparedness journey. Now, do you have anything to add before we get started? Let's dive into the world of movies and shows that have taught us valuable prepping lessons.
Well, I'm gonna say, how dare you? I already told you this. I think this is gonna be a fun topic, especially having Tug in here, man, because we're movie nerds
Movie
and
nerd.
just buffs. I don't know where Danny stands on movies, but I mean,
I actually have not just one, but I actually have 2 YouTube channels that pretty much deal with TV and movies.
Okay.
I have one called Shock Theater Official, which handles where I do a lot of the horror movie and grosser aspects of entertainment. And then I have one called Starlog that I do a lot of science fiction, like Space 1999 and Star Trek and stuff.
Okay, my truck's just started. I don't know what's about to happen.
If you
Hopefully
explode,
it's not
we'll
going to
know.
drive off down the street.
My audio might switch over. I don't know yet. We'll see in a minute. Hey, Brady. But yeah, man, when you threw this topic up, I kept thinking movies.
Question number
movies,
1.
movies.
What movie or show had the biggest impact on your mindset about preparedness?
You want to go ahead and go first? Go for it, Shane.
No, one of y'all go first. Well, I'll get it out the way. Because it's a... I can't pick one, I tried, man. But there's like little elements from different movies. Probably number one on the list. Well, I'm gonna start with the little ones first. I Am Legend. Just the way he kept everything he needed in a backpack, and his survival skills, despite his disability, but more or less always keeping something on value to use in like a barter system. If it comes down to that, keep something on you. No, that's Book of Eli. Sorry.
I was wondering, like, what?
I'm sorry.
He's the expert.
I meant to mention the better one first. All right, I Am Legend was simply the not really the preparedness, because the incident happened on him, but knowing when to go, where to certain places to scavenge, having a schedule, and keeping an animal companion with you. As long as you can feed that animal, take care of it. Yeah, it's always good to have a dog with you. Zombieland, establishing having a set of rules for said scenario. You gotta have rules. Rules is rules, man. You gotta have the rules. The Purge, knowing that something is gonna happen and preparing your house, but the Purge is gonna come back for question number 5. On the negative side. Mad Max, just that survivalness instinct. I guess keeping the gas, really. Keeping on you what you need, knowing how to maintain your equipment and stuff. You get a lot of that out of Mad Max. The A-Team, having situational awareness, using your environment to its fullest, and being able to use what's around you to create what you need to get out of a sticky situation, more or less. But my number one biggest impact is probably 10 Cloverfield Lane. Subjectively, the best of the trilogy.
Yeah, definitely.
Because my man's had the bunker underneath the ground ready for everything. He was good to go. He was there to survive. I love that movie because, you know, everybody thinks he's crazy, and he was right. Nobody wanted to believe him. He was right. But he had everything he needed to survive down there. It was just like an underground bunker, fully stocked, filtration, air systems, and the water purification system. Don't call people paranoid just because they prep, because you never know when they're right. And yeah, John Goodman, that's his name.
He was incredible in that movie.
Yeah, he was real good in that. Yeah,
He makes
that
a pretty good
ungrateful.
Terminator too, so.
That ungrateful little bee in that movie that didn't take this man's gratitude.
I mean, he was a creep.
Yeah, he was.
He was right, but he was a creep.
But yeah, that's
Okay, well,
arms look weird.
since Funky keeps bringing it up, I'm going to go ahead and talk about Alive, because that was my pick here. Because when I was growing up, I'm an Eagle Scout. I was a Boy Scout. So like I had learned a lot of first aid stuff, but I was a kid, you know, it's kind of like one in one ear, out the other. When am I ever going to need to know this stuff? And then I watched Alive, and I realized that right at the very beginning of the movie, there's somebody who gets like, his leg gets crushed really bad, and they don't exactly know what to do with it, and he later dies. And I'm sitting there thinking, just what I learned from Boy Scouts. I knew that they were doing it all wrong. There were things that they could have been doing that would have worked a lot better, you know. And so that got me thinking, this stuff is actually useful, and maybe I should pay more attention. And yeah, I
throw Mama from the train. Okay. I'm not gonna judge.
But yes, Brady and Funky keep bringing up Alive, and it really, literally was. I could show you my list. It really was the first thing I was going to talk about. Okay, Danny.
So that's another problem I was having with this whole conversation, is like, how much of like movies based on real situations do we bring into this?
Yeah, that's true.
'Cause,
yeah, especially for the question about most realistic. Like, what if it actually happened?
Yeah, I tried to stick to mostly fiction, but yeah, Alive is going to come up a lot tonight, I think.
Well,
Yeah.
For me, it started at a young age. What got me about being prepared, and I think this is a lesson for every era of people. If you go back to the 1960s, for my mom, she always talked about Night of the Living Dead scaring the crap out of her, because that's the scariest situation, would be the zombie apocalypse. And the old black and white movie, it didn't really bother me that much. It wasn't until I saw Dawn of the Dead, when in my generation, did it become apparently to me that you should be prepared just in case. It might not be zombies, might be the horde of starving city vermin or whatever, but in the future, if something bad happens, eventually you're gonna run out of ammunition. Bullets are gonna go. And in the long run, it's going to come down to bladed weapons and swords. That's probably one of the reasons I'm a sword collector. I've got lots of bladed weapons. I got a lot of guns.
You're going to run out of bullets. Yeah.
Weapons for backup. I've got every bladed weapon you can probably possibly imagine. And that's to be prepared for what might come. And in today's younger people out there who don't know the movies I'm talking about, I'll reference the whole fear restarting again with the Walking Dead series that's run forever and spun off tons of little episode TV shows like Fear the Walking Dead and the Survivors thing they got going on now. And it just constantly dwells into the people the survival thing of the zombie apocalypse. But be honest with you, of all of all the survival things that come up, and I know it's highly unlikely the dead are going to walk, and it's highly unlikely it's going to be like The Walking Dead. But of all the apocalyptic scenarios that you should prepare for, that is the scariest one to prepare for.
No, I think I really like zombie movies for that. They get people thinking these kinds of things, even though, like, realistically, a zombie apocalypse is not going to happen, right? But everybody always likes to think, like, how are they going to, how would they do it? How would they handle it? How would they barricade a house? Like, who would they trust? And how would they, deal with ammunition or the gas shortages? Like, it always gets you thinking about that sort of thing.
But it'll be the same situation when society bites the big one and everybody flees from the urban cesspools. You're going to have to defend yourself.
Right, yeah.
No, when you said running out of the bullets will run out. You made me think about another series.
I got a lot of bullets, but eventually, you just can't shoot them all.
Get Daryl with that crossbow. That's the way to go.
You made me think of another one though. Into the Badlands. That did have an impact on me because I getting more proficient with melee weapons. Because the bullets they'll eventually run out. Go hand to hand or use a melee weapon as much as you can before you got to resort to bang bang violence. I mean,
if anybody wants to see some of my bladed weapons, there's a playlist on my channel. I show some of my weapons, and one of them is this really cool big Wolverine claw that fits over my hand, and it's got the big blades that come off of it. It's probably my favorite. Whenever I put that bad boy on, I actually feel like a superhero.
Has it got a sheath that you can like put on your thigh?
I don't like the little holster thing that goes with it, but it does got nice plastic things you put over the tips because it's so razor sharp that it'll go through about anything like a lanthium or something.
I'm like picturing Freddy Krueger claws, man.
Oh,
hey
guys.
How's it going?
It's going good. I have to come up here and explain myself because when you always hear my group talking about bratty eating people. Okay, so let me explain, okay? Because you're going to talk about the movie Alive. So one day we were in Discord and our whole group was in there and we were having serious conversations or whatever. And I was watching Alive again because I've watched it a million times. And I said, it was just a question. I said, if we were all in a plane crash together out in the middle of nowhere in the snow, could I eat you? and I gave everybody permission, if it was me, that they could survive and save others by eating me.
I mean, that is an important conversation.
Right. I thought it was pretty important. Now I get a lot of shit because everybody thinks just because I asked everybody to send pictures of their butt cheeks just in case. So now
I'm gonna mute my mic now so I don't make a.
So now I get a lot of crap for it every time they talk about accidents or whatever. But it was a serious question. It was an important question because I would be willing to let people survive off of me if it meant saving their life. And a few of them said, heck no. And they're wearing signs and that we can't eat them. And they're not going to ride on a plane with Bratty ever. But anyways,
they're gonna be mad when they don't. It was like,
right?
I'm so hungry.
Right? They're gonna get hungry.
Like in Alive, like the people who do actually cannibalize the dead are better off than the people who don't. The people
but
who
it's
don't
only in it's only in a case of emergency. I don't walk around with a knife and fork in my pocket. But they make it sound like I'm just ready to don't fall asleep. She might think you're dead.
I'm just gonna have another bowl of snow.
Anyways, I just wanted to explain that because there's always little comments in the chat about eating people, and it's usually about me. So it's only in case of emergency. That's all. And just be clean.
Fair enough. Yes.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna go back to modding. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Oh. But yeah,
Many movies and shows have shown the importance of being prepared, but one that stands out is The Road, 2009. This film paints a grim picture of a post-apocalyptic world where survival depends on having the right skills, supplies, and mindset. It shows the dangers of being unprepared when society collapses. The desperation, lack of resources, and constant threats in the movie make it a powerful reminder of why prepping matters. Another impactful movie is I Am Legend, 2007. Will Smith's character is left alone in a world overrun by infected creatures. His ability to secure food, defend himself, and maintain a routine is key to his survival. The film highlights the importance of self-sufficiency, having backup plans, and understanding how to adapt when the world changes overnight. The psychological toll of isolation is also a major theme. The TV show The Walking Dead provides countless examples of why preparedness is critical. The characters who have survival skills, knowledge of agriculture, and the ability to defend themselves tend to last the longest. The show emphasizes that relying on modern conveniences is dangerous and that those who fail to adapt do not survive. It reinforces the need for community building in a post-collapse world. Another series that impacted prepping mindsets is Jericho. This show explores what happens when a small town is cut off from the rest of the country after nuclear attacks. It shows how quickly resources become scarce, how fragile society is, and why having a preparedness plan in place before disaster strikes is crucial. The way people react to crisis situations in the show is a wake-up call for anyone who assumes things will remain stable.
So tell me, Zach, are you doing all that on
Contagion,
the fly?
2011, is another film that changed how people view preparedness. The rapid spread of disease, government lockdowns, and the breakdown of everyday life were eerily realistic. It showed how quickly supply chains can collapse and how important it is to have food, medicine, and sanitation supplies on hand. Many people took prepping more seriously after seeing how plausible these scenarios are. The show alone gives real-life insight into survival. Contestants are placed in remote locations with minimal supplies and must rely on their skills to stay alive. It proves that having the right knowledge and preparation is more valuable than just having gear. Many participants struggle because they lack certain skills, showing how important it is to practice survival techniques before they are needed. Movies like Mad Max, Fury Road show a world where resources are the ultimate form of power. Those who control food, water, and fuel have complete dominance over others. This reinforces the idea that preppers should focus on sustainability and self-sufficiency. It also highlights the dangers of relying on others for essential needs. These films and shows serve as more than just entertainment. They act as warnings and lessons about what could happen in a crisis. Being prepared is not just a hobby, it is a necessity. UP out.
Everybody, peace out.
Good call on Jericho. I didn't even think about that. And I love that show.
Hey, Zach, are you typing all this in as you go, or are you prepared with statements already prepared? Because you're quick if you're typing all that.
Dan, it takes me 6 hours to prepare.
Okay, I didn't. I was thinking, God, if he's typing all this as he goes, he's like Superman. It takes me 20 minutes to type a sentence. I have trouble texting.
It's Diamond's Creations and Current Events. What a name! That Leave the World Behind movie. Go to my channel. I have a first part review on it, and then I did a live stream review on the rest of it. You'll check that out. You'll see how dumb that movie is. Because that Tesla scene, that Tesla scene was really crazy, but it made no sense because of the crash avoidance cynicisms that Teslas are allegedly supposed to have. But it did set a real world precedent of how technology can fail or be overridden. They really thought they were doing something smart in that movie, but they did not. Sesame Street, really community building in hermits. There's a guy that lives in a trash can. They're not exactly working together. Are they making Leave the World Behind too? No. Is she gonna sing through the movie?
Oh.
The world is behind me.
You know, that brought back Joker 2 flashbacks, and I got nauseous.
We're not going to talk about that.
Now I need Tums.
That's a disaster of a different kind.
Oh,
I got a good one for y'all. I got a good one for you. When I was a kid, and I'm talking like 7 years old, watching Shock Theater with my stepdad, you know, the first introduction to horror movies and stuff. They showed this old Ray Milland movie from the 60s. I think Panic in the Year Zero or something.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
That's not smart.
And it's just like an apocalyptic nightmare movie that had scenes in it that a young kid probably shouldn't have seen. And honestly, it was deep movie for a 60s movie about the end of the world. And these guys, they have to survive hydrogen bombs and go into the mountains and survive. I think Frankie Avalon's in it for some reason. I could be wrong.
He popped up in a lot of random movies back then, man.
It's like Frankie Avalon's in there running around trying to survive the apocalypse. I keep expecting Matt Funicello to show up, but she don't.
Well, what's that one disaster movie where it's what's his name? Belafonte, Henry Belafonte, wandering around like New York and it's all empty, like kind of like I Am Legend, but this was like in the 50s.
Wow.
Ooh.
You may help me on that one.
The World, the Flesh, and the Devil. That's it.
Oh, okay.
I swear I'm not making that up. Let me make sure I got the title right. Yeah, that's it. The World, the Flesh, and the Devil. Yeah.
That's 1959.
Yep, Harry Belafonte.
You know, you got another movie I had never seen, man.
There you go. See, I'm teaching you things.
Question number 2. Which survival scenario from a film or series do you think is the most realistic?
You want to go first again, Shane?
Yeah, get them out the way. This one was a tricky one because of course, like I said, alive, but to get away from something that's like, you know, the whole based on a true story thing. I got some odd choices. Like the first one I could think about that popped in my head was like Rambo / Predator. Because the story of two guys that had special training and they were put in a scenario to where their instincts really had to kick in. Now, to take Predator out of it because of, you know, aliens, even though they walk amongst us, I'll go more with Rambo on that one because, you know, he's a specially trained vet, got thrown in a crazy situation, and he just came out of the jungle and now he's in the woods hunting amateur or staying away and dealing with these amateur cops. And that, I could see a guy doing that. And next to him, I would put Die Hard, John McClane.
Let me protest that you're calling these guys amateur cops. That guy Galt had been a cop for 30 years, damn it. 30 years. He was not an amateur.
He was a veteran hating son of a. But anyway, Die Hard. I could imagine somebody like him getting away from the situation that's going on and sneaking around, being like that mouse you can't catch in the house. And he's just boom here, hiding there, taking shots here, taking shots there. It's like attack and boom, back in the shadows. kind of scenario. I can see that. Dread somewhat. Not not the Stallone Dread, but the Carl Urban Dread.
The good one. Yeah.
Yeah, the good one. The way they work their way through that tower, relying on skill, intuition, even though the girl was a mutant. But I mean, even if you take her out of it, I think Dredd still would have made it through all that. Best one probably surviving the game.
Ooh,
With our boy Ice-T.
Most dangerous game. Yeah.
He definitely used the woods to his advantage. And this is like a guy from the inner city. It's just like he just adapted. Uses survival skills from the uses survival skills from the streets and applied them to the forest. And it's like, I can see you doing it. I can see you doing that. These are a bunch of rich yuppies and privileged, entitled, and it's not racist because Charles S. Dutton was in it too, and he's black, so he was hunting them too. But just using his skills to outsmart. He had natural acquired survival skills, and these yuppies probably have never had to fight for their lives ever in a day in their life. But probably more realistic. My top two picks. Those are movies. TV series. Breaking Bad. When Walter and Jesse are out in the desert making a batch, and Jesse accidentally put the key in the ignition, and for some reason the battery turned on. I don't know any vehicle that works like that. Why'd you put it in the ignition to begin with? But why didn't you just put it on the seat? But anyway, what they had to go through to try to crank that thing and survive without water, I could see that happening. It comes off. I could see that being realistic. The process of trying to get some crank out of that generator, using science to make a battery, trickle charge a battery. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. And then it's parent or sister show, Better Call Saul. Saul had to go out in the desert to pick up some money for Lalo. Got ambushed. But Mike Ermintrout was there to save him, and they had to walk through the dango desert. And a lot of the survival instincts that Mike Ermintrout, that character portrays in that show, are pretty spot on. The things he was telling Saul what to do. Don't do this. Do this. Do this. Drink your pee. That is That could work. I could see that working because Mike was prepared for this stuff. So yeah, I give my top votes to. I probably give my number one top vote to that scene, Saul and Mike. But yeah. And then the A-Team when you can get locked into a broom closet and drive out in a tank. Love the show. I mean,
The Road presents one of the most realistic survival scenarios. Unlike many post-apocalyptic films, it does not rely on action sequences or unrealistic heroics. It shows the slow, painful breakdown of society in the true struggle to find food, shelter, and safety. It captures the mental and physical toll of long-term survival in a world where nothing is guaranteed. Jericho offers a scenario that is both realistic and terrifying. The show portrays the aftermath of nuclear attacks, showing how small towns would be forced to rely on themselves. It realistically depicts power struggles, food shortages, and the difficulty of maintaining order when outside help is gone. Many of the conflicts in the show mirror real-world disaster responses. Contagion is another example of a realistic survival scenario. The film's depiction of a pandemic closely mirrors actual events, showing how quickly a virus can spread and how unprepared the world can be for a major outbreak. It highlights the importance of having supplies, staying informed, and being ready for government-imposed restrictions. Children of Men, 2006, presents a world where society collapses due to widespread infertility. The breakdown of law and order, the refugee crisis, and the control of resources by the government are all elements that could realistically happen in a major societal collapse. The struggle for survival in a world without hope is depicted in a brutally honest way. The Walking Dead shows how survival is not just about having supplies but also about forming alliances and defending against external threats. While the zombie aspect is fictional, the human conflicts and the scarcity of resources are very realistic. The show demonstrates how people react in desperate situations and how dangerous unprepared individuals can be. Blackout, 2013, is a lesser-known but highly realistic TV film that explores what happens when a massive cyber attack takes down the UK's power grid. It highlights how quickly people resort to looting, how dependent society is on electricity, and the chaos that follows when modern conveniences disappear. This scenario is one of the most plausible in today's world. 127 Hours, 2010, is based on a true story, making it one of the most realistic survival films ever made. It follows Aaron Ralston, who gets trapped in a canyon and must make the difficult decision to amputate his own arm to survive. It emphasizes the importance of always being prepared and letting others know your location before heading into dangerous areas. Realistic survival scenarios are not about Hollywood-style heroics. They are about preparation, mindset, and understanding how fragile society truly is. UP out.
Yeah, the one you mentioned that I hadn't heard of, Blackout, sounds very familiar, very similar to one of the ones I was going to talk about, which is The Trigger Effect, which is a movie about a massive blackout. I don't think the movie even explains where it came from. It's just suddenly there's no power. And how quickly things devolve, and not just on a social societal level, but like on a personal level, like your own prejudices will start to come out. How you react to the situation is going to tell you things about yourself that you don't necessarily know. You're going to start judging people unfairly. You're not going to have any trust when the shit hits the fan and you have to go get first aid or something. Like you're gonna bite, scratch, and claw your way to survive, and you have to be ready for that. But at the same time, if you lose faith in humanity as part of that, then what are you fighting for? It's that kind of movie. I was also going to talk about Contagion, but you already beat me to it. That was pretty realistic because it pretty accurately predicted 2020. If like the COVID virus had been 10 million times worse, it would have looked a lot like Contagion. And in that same vein, there was one other movie I was thinking of, is The Siege from like 98, 99, which is about a terrorist attack on New York City. And holy crap, does it nail how we would react to it, because it's exactly how we reacted to it in 2001. That movie, like in hindsight, is incredible. When it came out, it didn't really make that big of a splash. It was just like a movie, people saw it. It had Bruce Willis in it and Denzel Washington. But like
Bruce Willis right there, buddy.
After 2001, it was prophetic. It was that kind of movie. So yeah, those are three examples of movies that I think are very realistic, even though they are all fictional.
For me,
movies that I don't know why.
For me, you hit the nail on the head. I'm only going to pick one. I'm not going to go through a list. But the one that I called most realistic, and that was from my younger days, was The Stand by Stephen King. That movie always scared me because it was the apocalyptic end and a horrible virus, taking everybody down. And I swear to God, when that C word you brought up earlier started, the first thing that popped into my mind was, oh my God, The Stand. I hope Stephen King ain't a Nostradamus. It really did sink in bad with that, because the stand hit nerves. It hit a lot of nerves with a lot of people.
Yeah, it was scary when it came out.
When it came out, it started big conversations, and in my little part of the world, when other things started happening, we all brought The Stand up and started talking about how similar things are starting, like in that movie. As a matter of fact, I think I was calling it Captain Trips for about the first month or two.
I grew up on movies like Outbreak, so I was thinking like any minute now the United States government is going to bomb a city.
You know, Outbreak is even scarier
Yeah.
because it's closer to what might really happen. And then we had a bunch of monkeys escaping South Carolina.
I know, I thought of that.
Yes. First movie I went to when I heard that. I was like, oh no, what's happening?
I saw the weirdest thing. I got to bring this up real quick. I saw the weirdest thing I ever saw today. The whole sky around my house was filled with jets, and they were flying a crisscross square zigzag pattern around my house, and you could see the chemtrails all squared off everywhere they crossed. And it was like, I felt like I was being crop dusted. I had a video and I put it up and showed all the planes where they crossed all over the sky around me. It was the weirdest thing. I'm 59 years old and I've never seen that. I've never seen planes do that. So I thought that was really weird.
That does sound weird.
They were training.
Probably.
Practicing.
I wish they could train out over the ocean and not do it around my house.
It's not your airspace, it's ours.
Question number 3. Have you ever changed your prepping plans based on something you saw in a movie or show?
That's one I had trouble with, because I can't say I've changed anything, but more or less kept like learning and adapting and like looking at stuff and like, well, I would never do that, to like, that might not actually be a bad idea.
I don't know, but after Tug showed me that movie, A Boy and Your Dog, I make sure I put dog food in the prepping bag.
I couldn't say I've changed anything. Maybe the only thing is like, don't drink salt water or seawater.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Make sure it's a freshwater source. But that was like when I was younger, like back in high school.
As long as it's not Kevin Costner's pee, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you could just boil, like, go to the ocean and get it and boil it, and it was like, nah.
Well, if you can distill it, you can do that, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I actually have a good answer for this.
Pour seawater through some kind of filter made of bones, and it would filter out the salt.
I have no idea. Okay.
I think I've heard of that.
Well, Zach would know. He's the expert. Give us a thumbs up, Zach. Can you filter salt water through bones? Yeah, you see. I'm not crazy. I didn't imagine.
I gotta get some bones.
I think it takes a certain kind of horse bone. I don't
get it from your friends after you eat them. Yeah.
Yeah. Little Bratty.
I think there's even a special kind of bones you use, like pork bones or something, because of the holes filter thing better. I don't know.
Okay, so for me, I grew up in Florida, and we always had hurricanes, and we were always worried about flash floods and things like that. So we always kept all of our prep stuff, like our first aid kit, things like that, upstairs as high as possible. And also, we didn't have basements in Florida because it's just like a sheet of limestone. If you dig, you're underwater. But when I moved here to the Midwest, where I'm in the middle of Tornado Alley, that had to change. But I didn't really even think about it or realize it until I thought about the movie Twister. And to some extent, the sequel, actually, Twisters, makes this point even clearer. You should always go low as possible. So instead of keeping the first aid kit and stuff upstairs, I'm putting it in the basement now. So that is an example of a movie that actually taught me something that made me change how I operate. And I had to think about that one for a really long time, but that was the answer I came up with.
Zach, are you on the floor?
Many preppers adjusted their food storage strategies after watching The Road. The movie makes it clear that scavenging is not a long-term solution and that having a well-stocked pantry is essential. Seeing how food became the ultimate currency in a world without stores reinforced the importance of long-term food preservation. After Contagion, people started paying more attention to hygiene and sanitation. The movie showed how quickly a pandemic could spread, making many realize the need for masks, gloves, and medical supplies. The panic buying in real life mirrored what happened in the film, proving that those who prepared in advance were at an advantage. The Walking Dead reinforced the importance of self-defense. While zombies are fictional, the threat of desperate people during a crisis is very real. The show highlights why having a plan for home defense and knowing how to protect yourself is a crucial part of prepping. Blackout made many people rethink their reliance on electricity. The idea of a cyber attack taking down the grid seemed like fiction until real-world incidents started proving how vulnerable modern infrastructure is. Many preppers began investing in solar power, backup generators, and alternative cooking methods. The survival show alone changed how people viewed survival skills. Many contestants struggled with food shortages despite having gear. This reinforced the idea that knowing how to hunt, fish, and forage is just as important as having supplies. Watching real people fail due to lack of knowledge was eye-opening. Movies like Mad Max reinforced the importance of fuel storage. While the setting is exaggerated, the core message remains true: those who control resources have power. This led many preppers to focus on fuel storage, alternative transportation, and energy independence. Jericho showed the importance of community survival. The town's ability to organize and distribute resources made survival possible. Many preppers realized that going it alone is not always the best strategy. Strong communities with shared resources have a higher chance of surviving long-term crises. Movies and shows are not just entertainment. They can be powerful tools for learning and improving preparedness. UP out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Hard to follow that up.
Well said. Well spoken.
Yeah, but Zach, I'm tired of you bringing up Walking Dead. But
I was wondering how long until you snapped.
I hate that show. It's all good though. But I mean, it is a testament. I'll give it that to learning how to adapt at least. The situation is thrown upon you like that, and you know, Daryl. What's the other kid's name? Who was the screw?
I don't know. I like Walking Dead up to about the 5th season.
Oh, who was the kid? Well, whatever. Sometimes you got to weed out the weak ones. Personally, in the middle.
I do
of the
like
night.
in The Walking Dead how like it progresses from learning how to scavenge to like learning how to grow your own food. You know, like stuff like that. I think The Walking Dead is good at. The show itself, wow, it went on way too long, and it stopped being interesting after like the 4th or 5th season.
Yeah. When they killed that little Glenn guy, I quit watching it. I got all mad, and I was like, "Oh, I like him." It's over.
Wow, that made me.
Yeah.
That made me think about another show, a series where I think he kind of did it right. About defenses. Probably learned that from that show. What is that? With the spores. Was the video game. The second one was horrible.
Last of Us.
Last of Us.
Yes.
The third episode with Nick Offerman, when they came across him, how he had his defenses set up, had everything he needed, and he'd go out and scavenge, surrounded his area with his electrified. If you have the know-how and wherewithal to do that, of course. But it was a nice little protected sector. He found a truck and a boat and used the boat as a trailer and went out ravaging for supplies. He was good to go. That's survivalist stuff. I'm trying to think of like so many like prepping situations, and the more I thought about it, it's like this is more of a survivalist situation. This is more survivalist. It's kind of hard to figure out prepping ones.
I don't know. My hero's always been a guy named Burt Gummer, because Burt Gummer was prepared. If you ever see the first Tremors movie, Burt, he had that basement with the guns. He was prepared for anything.
Looks like you broke into the wrong goddamn rec room. Yeah.
You are absolutely correct. That man was the number one prepper.
Prepper survivalist. I just watched Tremors 7, Tremor Island or something yesterday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Another one
franchise became his.
Then I watched the one a couple of weeks ago where he was in Antarctica fighting tremors in the eyes.
Antarctica.
There's like 7, 8 of the movies.
Did he go to space?
Not yet. It's only a matter of time. Every franchise eventually goes to space.
Tremors Planet, you know.
After they go to space, time travel. Like,
of course.
I can go back
they done did time travel. It's called Back to Perfection, Tremors 3, and it takes place in the Old West.
Oh, that's right.
Are you serious?
I forgot about that. It's not
You
really
can
time travel.
find all
It's
these
just like
Tremor movies on the playlist called 2 Movies on my channel.
This exists.
And they're all, I don't care what you say, they're all fucking wonderful.
Yep, it's on my list. It's on my list. Tremors 3.
I had somebody dare me to try to get through all of them.
And
like
all
I said,
the Tremors movies in the playlist called Cool Movies on my channel right now. I think I got all 7 of them.
After I reviewed the first one, a friend of mine dared me to watch them all, so I went out and got the box set of all 7 of them, and I have yet to get past the 4th one. Like, it's just they got so bad, man.
No, they're hardly great though. They really are.
Yes, they're
when they start calling them ass blasters and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, I'm done.
If you're a Burt Gummer, it don't matter if you're a Burt Gummer fan.
But Burt Gummer is the ultimate prepper. I will give you that.
He's a hero, man.
He was never going to run out of bullets, ever.
Well, actually, he ran out in part 2 because he was informed wrong.
Right.
Lack of information almost got him killed.
Question number 4. What's one lesson from a movie or show that you think should take seriously?
I'm sorry.
Well, I'd have to go with the movie Deliverance that taught me not to go in the woods alone and to always stay very well armed.
Oh, this is where I have to go to my visual aid.
Yeah.
I was going to go with Dante's Peak, because in that movie at the very end, you see him try to outrun the pyroclastic cloud, which is beyond ridiculous. So the takeaway from that, as somebody who grew up in, with hurricanes, never assume you can outrun a disaster. I mean, if they tell you to evacuate, you should probably evacuate before it gets to be too late, because you're not going to outrun.
It's a little bit easier to outrun a hurricane when you got 6 days notice it's coming.
Hurricanes are a lot easier to get out of the way of than like a tornado or volcano. You should be able to get out of the way, hopefully.
Tell that to the good people of Pompeii.
Well, yeah, true. But yeah, if there's warning signs and they tell you to evacuate. That's the one lesson I think you should take seriously.
I love the old people. I'm not going nowhere. I've been here for 80 years. I'm going to stay in my house.
Yeah, those people don't last.
That one guy did, the one on the boat in Florida. He rode out the hurricane and he was still there. And I was like, God, he lived.
Oh, what's that other movie based on a real thing? It was like the storm thing. Perfect Storm, obviously.
Yeah, but they didn't come back.
No, they didn't come back.
Which always makes me wonder.
Based on a true story. Like, how
you know what happened on the damn boat?
Exactly. How was that based on a true story?
They just assumed that's what happened with them. Or as we know, they got picked up by UFO and they're on some other planet right now.
If there was no survivors who told the story.
Exactly.
I thought that was a stupid fucking movie. I really did.
It is a stupid movie. And it's like, what's his name? George Clooney.
George Clooney.
George Clooney, and we're supposed to believe that Brad Pitt is like a sailor. Like, Come on.
Oh, it's Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, it's Mark Wahlberg. Even worse.
Even worse.
I watched a movie about apocalyptic movie with Brad Pitt called World War Z.
Oh, please don't talk about that.
That was what a freaking nightmare, man. That movie was so bad.
It had less than nothing to do with the book.
Oh, God.
It was the first time. I watched that movie. It was the first time I ever felt better about being a cancer patient. And I thought I might be a little bit more a survivor on account of it in that one.
This
Yes,
one,
much better book.
I hated and kind of liked this question, Zach. Well, my answer is kind of, I don't know how to say it. All right, we'll just say it. First, like your basic stuff, you've learned from. I can't pin it down to like one movie. It's one of these things you get from a lot of movies, like basic stuff, like learn how to make a fire. Right, know how to do that from scratch. Learn how to gather water, fresh water, not seawater. Unless you got some bones.
Bones. Grinding
bones.
bones.
Have your
have some kind of sense on how to like hunt animals and then be able to prep them. You see that in a lot of these movies, and basic first aid. But probably the series that I learned a lot of stuff from, that I think should be taken seriously. Now, bear with me. I got a list here. The TV show NCIS, with Mark Harmon. The first original NCIS. Gibbs had a set of rules. Yeah, Gibbs has Leroy Jethro Gibbs. He has a set of rules that I have used in my real life. And I think they can apply to the situation, and the main one being rule number 9, always carry a knife. That's just something I've lived by all my life before I even saw that show. And I was like, yep, you're damn right. Always carry a knife.
Comes in handy more often than you think.
Yes.
And yes, hold on for 1 minute. Let me tell you that you can technically filter seawater by grinding bones into a fine powder and using it as a filtration system. You can actually remove the salt from small amounts of water and sustain yourself on it.
Weird.
I Googled it.
That sounds like it makes sense. I mean, yeah.
I knew I'd heard that somewhere before.
I'd like to try it.
No, I'm not going to be doing that. I absolutely have to grind some bones to powder.
Logically, it makes sense. I would imagine you have to change that filter out for so many bones per gallons of water. I imagine you have to change it out.
Well, it's not a long-term sustainability, but for short-term, it'll grind.
For long-term, you have to build a
for a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
You could get to a better water source.
Yeah, I'll just get a Brita.
You can run out of those filters, man.
But just some of Gibbs' rules here, I think that can apply to the prepper scenario. All right, where is it? Number 9, always carry a knife, of course. Number 3, don't believe what you're told. Double check. Always.
Yes,
if we're in a situation where we gotta survive and somebody says something, I'm like, yeah, go double check. Number 6, never say you're sorry. It's a sign of weakness. Yeah, if we're in a survival group and you're apologizing, oh, I'm sorry. Somebody, they might see that as a sign of weakness, and you being projecting yourself as a weak one of the group, they're going to try to take advantage of you, possibly, depending on how sadistic people are.
I approve of this message.
I can't believe I'm ranting like this and not cursing. Rule number 8, never take anything for granted. That's a given. That's a given. Never take anything for granted. I mean, I don't even have to explain that one. Number 14.
You can just take it for granted.
Number 14, bend the line. Do not ever break it. Now, in the sense of that context, is like maybe stretch what you can do or test the limits of something, but know where you should stop. Don't break it. I know he has a different meaning for it in his show, but I could see how it could apply in a survival situation. You think, maybe I could make a bow out of this stick. Test it. Don't put too much tension strength on it because it might be the perfect one you found, and boom, you broke it because you went too far. It was like, always carefully, slowly test the limits of the situation you're in. 15, always work as a team. If you're actually a group that are unified and you're working together, work as a team. We're going to get more done. We're always going to get more done. Work as a team. Number 16, if someone thinks, I'm not reading the whole list. These are the ones I picked and applied. The list is stupid long. If someone thinks they have the upper hand, break it. Yeah. You're in a survivalist situation and with a group and somebody's trying to impose and bully their thoughts and processes on you, and you know that this is questionable, or the group itself, they think they got the upper hand on the group, step in there and break that hand.
Disabuse them of that notion.
Calm down. We're all on the same level, essentially. Rule 35. Always watch the watchers. Yeah. You got to watch the sneaky ones, the conniving ones, the ones that might be wanting to come after you and take what you got. If you notice them, watch them. Always watch who you think is watching you. 36. If you feel like you're being played, you probably are. There's no reason to not be paranoid. There's no reason at all to not be paranoid. Because usually when you have a suspicion in your mind, you're probably right. Ask my dating life. 39. There's no such thing as a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. I am 80-20 with coincidences. I do think everything happens for a reason, but everything can't be a coincidence. So, I'm kind of 80-20 with this one, but I think it was good enough to put on here. Rule number 40, if it seems someone is out to get you, they are. Probably. But that's paranoia.
That's
but
about
you
that
might be
trusting your
right.
instincts again, yeah.
Yeah, you might be right. Rule number 42, don't ever accept an apology from someone that just sucker punched you. I think that's self-explanatory.
That's just a rule to live by in general. Yeah.
Number 44, first things first, hide the women and children. Take care, definitely in a group situation like that. That's just being a man. We want to take care of the women and children first. And you're going to have women in the group that are going to be, no, you need my help. I'm like, okay, then let's take care of the children first. At least that. And if the women want to come put themselves in the situation, let's go. We need all the help we can get. 45, clean up your own mess. That applies in so many different scenarios. If you make a mess, like a campfire or take a poop, clean it up. Like we're all in this together. All right, don't leave your trash and filth laying around. And last one, 51, sometimes you're wrong. Never be afraid to admit when you're wrong, especially if you're maybe not even to say you're the headstrong one, or maybe you just thought something might have worked a certain way and somebody else is just like, well, hold on, no, wait, and they prove you wrong. Don't take that as an insult.
No,
Just understand, I was wrong about that.
Well, let me tell you this. If I find myself in a zombie apocalypse, the last thing I'm going to do is worry about cleaning up my freaking mess. Just saying.
Well, I mean, that's different.
I'm not going to police the area, buddy.
Well, what if you got to run back in that same direction and you slip on your own poop? I mean, I should have cleaned that up as you hit the ground.
I would like to address the fact that Shane keeps going.
I'm going to jump over and use it as a booby trap for the zombies.
I know what you're about to say, Tug. Say it.
I just want to acknowledge the fact that you're saying poop. The way you say the word poop is amazing.
There was a YouTube video I was watching while I was listening to while I was driving earlier, and the guy, it's Ryan George, great channel.
Oh yeah, I love him.
He says it like that, poop. And while I'm walking across, people have their dogs out there, and like I'm looking down, I was like, oh, there's some poop, and it's just still in my head right now.
The minute he said poop, I saw the black guy from Caveman and go, nah, man, that's shit.
But getting back to this question, another good example I thought of was MacGyver. There's a solution to every puzzle if you're clever enough. The problem is you have to be clever first. There's a way out of any box.
Burn.
I love MacGyver. That guy could do anything.
Not the
exactly.
new MacGyver, but the original.
I remember he was like, some guy was pointing a gun at him and was pulling the trigger, and he just like grabbed a ruler and stuck it in the like.
Science.
I always thought MacGyver was like the professor from Gilligan's Island's son because he could make anything out of a coconut and a wire.
Except a boat.
Serena Dan is the one who
this guy.
He's got the icon right now. Yeah. From South Carolina.
That's him.
Please.
And what was that movie that had Anthony Hopkins, and he was like, he made a fire using like ice. He like thinned it out with his hand and had like the sun go through it like a magnifying glass. What was that?
Yeah, I apologize for the icon, but I'm sitting outside and I'm right by a door, and apparently it's a heavy traffic night and people's in and out, and I don't think they want to be on camera.
Fair enough.
They keep giving me dirty looks when I go by.
Okay, I have to Google it. Anthony Hopkins survival movie.
That's gotta be one of his older movies, right?
The Edge.
Well, I know there's some old movies out there I haven't seen. I saw this Goldie Hawn, Peter Sellers preview thing tonight of some movie I never saw.
And then there's that movie where Liam Neeson goes to attack a bunch of wolves with like
The Gray.
broken alcohol bottle from the plane.
The movie that doesn't give us a satisfying ending.
He's gonna fight the wolves. Credits.
I can't remember the name of it, but there's one survival movie about this guy on a hunting trip or something, gets attacked by this giant bear and has to make his way back to society. That's
Revenant.
The Revenant.
Brutal movie.
That movie, God almighty, boy. That was a horrible movie.
By the way, Buff, don't tear me a new one since my answer has a series I keep mentioning.
It's your show. It's your show. It's your house.
Yeah, but that series you keep mentioning.
One of the biggest mistakes characters make in survival situations is failing to secure food and water early on. In The Walking Dead, many survivors go days without proper food and drink, scavenging whatever they can find. While this makes for dramatic storytelling, in a real crisis, having a solid food and water supply would be the difference between life and death. Many preppers know that relying on luck or scavenging is not a sustainable plan. Lack of situational awareness is another common mistake. In The Road, the father and son constantly walk into dangerous situations because they do not scout ahead properly. They move without always checking for threats, leading to life-threatening encounters. In any survival situation, being aware of surroundings and thinking ahead can mean the difference between staying safe and falling into danger.
So Zach, you never saw a boy in his dog, right?
Not having backup plans is a fatal flaw in many survival movies. In I Am Legend, Will Smith's character relies too much on his fortified home. When it gets compromised, he has nowhere else to go. This highlights the importance of having multiple bug-out locations and escape routes. Preppers know that relying on one place can be a huge mistake if it becomes unsafe. Overestimating one's abilities is another major issue. In Alone, many contestants go in thinking they can survive for months, but they fail to secure food or handle the mental strain. Many survival movies make it seem like anyone can handle extreme conditions, but real survival takes practice and preparation. Having skills is just as important as having gear. Trusting the wrong people is one of the most dangerous mistakes characters make. In Jericho, there are multiple instances where outsiders pose threats, pretending to be friendly while looking to take advantage. In real life, desperation can turn people into threats, which is why preppers emphasize security and caution when dealing with strangers in a crisis. Not prioritizing medical supplies is another issue. In The Road, the father's worsening condition shows how critical medical care is, yet it is rarely a priority in most survival movies. Even minor injuries can become deadly without proper treatment. Having a well-stocked medical kit and knowing how to use it is vital in any survival situation.
Oh, yes.
Ignoring psychological preparedness is another overlooked aspect. In Castaway, Tom Hanks' character struggles with isolation, proving that mental strength is just as important as physical survival. Many preppers focus only on food, water, and weapons but fail to prepare for the mental toll of long-term survival. Having ways to stay mentally engaged and hopeful can be a game changer. Characters in survival movies and shows often make the same mistakes, but real-world preppers can learn from these errors. Preparation, adaptability, and awareness are key to surviving any crisis. UP out.
Okay. First off, Will Smith in I Am Legend, he did have a backup plan. He had that tunnel in his lab that he put a girl and a boy in, and he sent them out that way. And he stayed there and sacrificed himself. So he did have a backup plan, and they made it to the people that they were he was looking for.
Somehow,
So
even
it
though the
could
whole
have
island
worked.
was blocked
Yeah,
off.
somehow.
I'm not going to tell you how much better I like the Omega Man with Charlton Heston than I did.
Oh yeah,
Than I did.
Yeah. I went and bought Omega Man after I watched I Am Legend. I was like, I like Omega Man better.
I even like the older one. I even like the older one with Vincent Price.
Freaks, you're all freaks. Yeah. That movie.
And
Last Man on Earth.
Last Man on Earth, yeah.
The dealing with isolation thing, he dealt with it. Don't you remember? Wilson! Wilson! But I'm gonna address that movie in the next question. So.
But like, what was that movie, The Quiet Earth, where the guy like goes completely insane because he's the last man on Earth, and he's like dressing up in women's clothes and like running around half naked through the park with like these giant. It's a weird ass movie.
Oh God, what was the name of the movie? What the dude was the last one on Earth, and he had all the books, and he was like, "I got all the time to read." And he broke his
That's
glasses.
a Twilight Zone episode.
Here's something to think about. That just crossed my mind when y'all were talking about medications. That a lot of people in this country are on a monthly medication, and you go once a month, and you like me. I go once a month. I get my prescriptions filled for the whole month. Then I run out, and I have to go back and refill my prescriptions. If there's an apocalyptic end and you can't get your prescriptions filled, how many people die after that 30 days when their medication runs out?
True. I'm diabetic. I got all kinds of problems. So yeah.
You have to have insulin?
No, I don't have to take insulin yet, but it's only a matter of
people
time.
with insulin would feel if suddenly, all that stopped. How many people would die?
Yeah, like, it's just not a lot you can do about that. Or people like who are severe asthmatics and stuff. Yeah. That would suck.
I saw something on the news yesterday where some kid died because he couldn't get his inhaler refill because they're $500 a piece now.
And you're not going to get any EpiPens. Like they go bad within like a year.
Really?
Yeah. You can still use them for up to like 3 or 4 years, but after that, they're useless. They're
So I
basically
should
just
take the
water.
ones out of that bag that's been in there for 5 or 6 years. Throw them
Yeah,
away.
it probably doesn't work anymore.
Okay, good point. I'll do that.
Bratty little me, I like that movie, Panic Room.
I like Panic Room.
Yeah, it was kind of a prepared thing, being a panic room. But the only thing that room was missing was like, an AR-15 with like 17 magazines fully loaded. And medication for her daughter. I mean,
That was Kristen Stewart. You realize that?
Yep. Young Kristen Stewart.
I didn't realize that until a couple of years ago, and it blew my mind. I'm like, that was Kristen Stewart, really?
I only watched that movie because I've always had a crush on Jodie Foster.
Well, yeah, me too.
Hey, I'm not the only one. Thank you.
Everybody saw Carney.
Yeah.
Carney. Yeah, ever saw Carney?
Never saw Carney. You should see
I'm
Carney.
not sure.
If you're a Jodie Foster fan and
You
you
should see
hadn't
Carney.
seen Carney, you need to look that movie up, bud.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
Jodie Foster, what? Gary Busey, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Jodie Foster and Gary Busey.
Okay.
That's a classic good movie, man. I'm not going to tell you about it and ruin it.
Question number 5. Do you think Hollywood accurately portrays survival situations, or do they get it wrong? Why?
Okay, the one thing I wanted to bring up right away that I think every post-apocalyptic movie gets wrong is gas only lasts a few years. Like there's no way to make it last longer than that. It just doesn't last that long. It will degrade to the point where you can't use it. I remember this really like crappy survival reality TV show called The Colony, which was awful. I don't recommend it, but they did do this one cool thing where they built their own windmill and they were powering it using like rendered pork fat. But I looked into it to see if that was actually realistic, if you could actually do that. And you can. Like, that is a longer term solution, like something you can renew over and over again. If you're just relying on gas to power a generator, you're going to be screwed in a couple of years. It's not going to last that long. So that's the first thing I wanted to bring up, because it always bugs me. In every post-apocalyptic movie, gas is just always lasts forever. And that's just
now actually you can adapt your carburetor system to run ethanol. You can run a still and make a high potency white lightning and run that in your cars and generators. I know that works because I saw it on the Dukes of Hazzard.
Rink, that is a great comment. When you said that, that just made me think about that garbage Jurassic World, where it's supposed to be like, what, 25, 30 years later, and these two kids find the Jeeps from the original movie.
Yeah.
And they just crank it up, and it was like, hold on, that gas and oil are bad. How did you charge that battery? Those cells are dead. This is a 30-year-old battery and gas and oil. No.
Yeah, like that TV show Lost, where they're driving around in cars from the 70s they found on the island.
Oh yeah, with the van. Yeah.
How did that run, man?
Watch that show.
I love that.
Like
show.
that
show.
Man.
That show was great for the last season.
Yeah, the last season is better not talk about it, but it's still a great show. It is a great show, despite having a terrible ending.
That guy Locke, he's one of your survival prepping heroes, man.
Absolutely.
Don't mess with the Locke.
He like showed up with that whole suitcase full of knives.
Yeah, he was ready to go, wasn't he?
Yeah, man, he was ready to go. And don't forget, he was in a wheelchair. So do I think
on this question, aren't we?
Hollywood accurately portrays survival situations?
Except in the TV show Lost, no. Because you're probably not going to find a bunker fully supplied with everything you need in a bad situation.
Okay, go ahead, Zach.
One of the most valuable lessons is that survival is about mindset just as much as resources. In The Road, the father and son's will to live keeps them going despite impossible odds. Without the right mindset, even the best supplies won't save someone who has already given up. Preppers understand that mental resilience is key in any crisis. The importance of food storage cannot be overstated. In Jericho, the town quickly realizes how scarce food becomes when supply chains shut down. Those who prepared ahead of time were far better off than those who relied on stores. Having long-term food storage and knowing how to grow food is a lesson that applies in both fiction and real life. Self-sufficiency is a recurring theme in survival movies. In I Am Legend, Will Smith's character knows how to hunt, secure his home, and create a routine to stay alive.
Yeah, I'm from
His
South Carolina.
ability to provide for himself without relying on external help is a major takeaway for preppers. Being able to survive without outside assistance is crucial in any disaster. The dangers of relying on government assistance are often highlighted in disaster films. In Contagion, people are left waiting for a vaccine while society collapses around them. In Blackout, the power grid fails, and the government has no immediate solution. These examples show why it is dangerous to assume someone else will come to the rescue. Personal preparedness is the best insurance against uncertainty. Security is one of the biggest lessons from The Walking Dead. The show demonstrates how quickly people turn against each other when resources become scarce. Preppers understand that defending their home, supplies, and family is just as important as having those supplies in the first place. In a crisis, security must always be a top priority. Having backup plans and alternative locations is crucial.
Yeah.
In Mad Max, Fury Road, those who stayed in one place became easy targets, while those who had escape plans had a better chance at survival. Preppers know that flexibility and mobility can mean the difference between life and death in extreme situations. Medical preparedness is another major lesson. In Castaway, a simple tooth infection nearly kills the main character because he has no access to medical care. In The Road, even minor injuries become serious risks. Preppers who prioritize medical kits, first aid training, and alternative treatments have a much better chance of surviving long-term disasters. Movies and shows are filled with survival lessons, but the biggest takeaway is that preparedness is a personal responsibility. Waiting for someone else to save you is not an option. Those who take action before a crisis are the ones who stand the best chance of making it through. UP out.
Were you answering the question or were you just ranting?
A little bit
I'll
of
tell you
both.
what, you brought up that movie Castaway, and the movie Castaway almost killed the audience with boredom.
Oh,
It's not that bad.
Now, come on, it's a 3-hour movie about a guy on an island that talks to a freaking ball.
have y'all answered? Wait,
That movie makes me want to pull my hair out and scream.
I just talked about the gas thing. That's all I said.
have we started answering this question yet? I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, we have.
Kinda.
All right. Okay. Well, let me just get this out of the way.
You could have
then.
said quickly, no.
What's that? Here's the problem again, Zach. I can't pick one. I can't pick one. Pray. The what?
Pray that Castaway ends and you don't have to watch it.
Fifth
The
Predator
last
movie?
good Predator
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, the last one. I did a review on that one. I'm half and half with that movie.
There's some
liked
dumb
it.
things in it, but I do like it.
Yeah,
So
there's a
that's
lot
the
of
point.
dumb.
Is that the one with the Indians?
Main thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes. And as far as it goes to survival, there's like really no prepping in it, but just survival. There's one scene that stands out. Check out my review, SICK2210 Productions. This girl, it has nothing to do with her being a girl, but she has a tomahawk. and she ties a rope to it. And this is supposed to be part of her survival. And then for some reason, she can take this tomahawk on a rope and just throw it, boom, at a tree, boom, and whip it back like Scorpion, and it comes right back to her hand. That's not how tomahawks on a rope work. I'm sorry. No. And then just immediately, boom, Scorpions to another tree, and boom, whips it back. No. That's not how that works at all. That infuriated me. Hollywood got that wrong.
They copied that from bad Chinese martial arts movies.
I don't even believe they got it from there. We had to make strong female character proficient and stronger than, which is beyond realism. That she can just, you go out and put a hammer on a rope and throw it at something, or a tomahawk if you want to, and see if it just comes right back to your handle. The handle comes back.
Well, that's like a running theme in pretty much any movies, like how they treat weapons, guns especially. Don't even get me started. They get so much wrong. It's almost like they don't want you to use them.
I
God,
think
you got some movies like Predator that actually makes the gun for the movie that don't exist.
Yeah.
I think Zombieland got it right. And I'm not saying that because they shot the beginning of that movie right up the road from my house, but just simply having rules. Number one, what was his name? Tennessee?
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson. The way he prepared, I could see somebody doing that, being proficient and figuring out how to deal with these situations. And what was that other fool, Michael Cera? Was that him or the other one, Jesse Eisenberg?
I think it was Eisenberg.
I get them confused.
Didn't Woody Harrelson prepare by hunting Twinkies?
That was his whole mission in the movie, was to get to the Twinkie factory.
Yeah.
But he had a goal in mind, and he prepared a mindset to get there. And he knew what to do. He dealt with these zombies. He's probably had previous experience of being in, tight situations. But whatever, I could see his survival being realistic. There's a series, it's on Netflix now, called The 100, which is absolutely retarded. But they drop. Oh, it's a sci-fi movie. I hate to say it, or show series. People that did wrong on this ship, they live in space now because Earth is uninhabitable. But they drop down 100 people that have done wrong and use them as guinea pigs. But
like
either
Australia.
way,
that girl that was the lead in that series, she was beautiful and awesome.
well, then so you know the show.
Yeah,
through the series, when they met the people in the mountain and they ended up defeating the people in the mountain, why didn't you take over the mountain? That seems pretty survival.
About the blood and all that.
This mountain is
the little chip in the back of the neck that would turn people and stuff. It just went too far, man.
The society in the mountain, they had everything set up to where they could survive. Now, granted, these people are immune from whatever danger. The 100 and the jungle people, whatever, they're immune to the radiation. But still, this mountain would be a cool place to stay and fortified. Hey, no, they just don't. I gave up after like 2 episodes into season 2. I was like, nope. Or was it season 3? One of them. Either way, I gave up on the show. It just got dumber. It was like, no, Hollywood got it wrong on that one.
It was on weekly TV for a long time. Then they stopped showing it.
Oh, I was watching it on Netflix.
Yeah, I was watching the series every week.
Castaway. The only reason he survived was kind of through convenience, because he was on a plane owned by FedEx. So it just so happens, oh, I got the things I need to survive in these random packages. I'm going to go ahead and open them and figure out what I need. That's a federal crime, opening other people's mail. But we're not going to get into that.
Hey,
But
you
he
want to hear
just
the
happened
funny
to have
part?
what he need.
You want to hear the funny part? He had this one package that he fought not to open because that was the one package he was going to deliver it. Have you ever
For reasons.
saw the deleted scene where the lady opens the package he delivered?
No.
It's a satellite phone.
There are too many expletives I want to say right now because I've never seen that scene. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. Oh my God. I swear.
He's an idiot.
Oh, it'd be funnier if it was, it'd be funnier if it's a satellite phone and he tries to turn it on and it's like no battery charge. So he can't use it anyway. Screw you. Gravity. Now, this is like a movie, I think Neil deGrasse Tyson, that I don't know what to say about him. I think he's gone lefty. But
putting it mildly,
surviving through what Sandra Bullock went through in space, the realism of it, I've never been to space. I've never been an astronaut. Maybe this stuff could have worked, but there was a thing about the scene with her and George Clooney, about him. He didn't have to do what he had to do to sacrifice himself for her. There could have been a tug on the rope of the tether. They'd be like, "Oh, now you're moving this direction." And you'll keep moving because it's space. It's
Do you really think Sandra Bullock survive in any situation?
That
don't involve a really fast bus?
The Blind Side. I don't know. That's based on a true story. Can't use that one. Speed 2. I don't know.
Was she the one driving that bus in Speed?
That was a bunch of malarkey.
I think Gravity is one of those movies that like starts kind of realistic. Like, sure, you could nitpick little things here and there, but like it starts realistic, but by the end it gets completely ridiculous. Like, she not only survives re-entry without a ship, which that's dumb. She also like stands up afterwards. You're not going to stand up that quickly. Like, there's so much wrong. Yeah.
Tree. The Martian. I love that movie.
That's a good movie.
It's one of my most favorite Matt Damon movies. Depending on, like, I don't know, what do we really know about the soul content and toxicity of Mars? But if feasible, maybe somebody could survive if they know what they're doing, and a botanist and has science, technology knowledge also. Maybe. And the last one I got is TV series on Amazon, Fallout. So many people have problems with this movie because they say it doesn't really. It hints at the game, but it separates itself from the game. But you pre-build nuclear fallout shelters, societies, communities, deep underground. And in the sense of, did Hollywood get it right? It's like there should have been an uprise in society, I think, when this company is building these things and selling them and promoting the hell out of them. Is just like, I don't think y'all are preparing for anything anymore. I think you're planning for it. That should have been the first thoughts of everybody's head. It was like, why is this company so large? Why do you have so many bunkers, these fallout shelters, around the country, world, whatever. I'm looking a little side-eyed at these governmental society around me right now, and this organization. Y'all are up to something, and only the rich and elite shall prevail. Why aren't the citizens, the normal citizens, more suspicious about what's going on? I guess I'm just arguing about writing right now.
Well, there's a couple of weird points to that, and one of them is you take the Swiss government, who spent billions of dollars building a underground city that can house 90% of their population, and then you go into all the deep underground bases in the United States. As a matter of fact, they just completed work on a city the size of Manhattan under Colorado Airport that's uninhabited. It's just a big city underground waiting for people to.
It's always been there. You don't know about
the point being that there's several places like that around the country. There's deep underground bases that they're building in practically underground cities. And most of them are
crap underneath
uninhabited.
There's a lot of crap underneath Denver's airport. You
Blow
your
mind.
would blow your mind.
There was actually a military base on that site before, an underground structure already did exist in that area. It's one of the reasons they chose it.
We're all doomed. We are not the elite.
I mean, the universe of Fallout is like entirely satire, so like I don't even take it that seriously.
Now I'm gonna go hit the lottery right quick and buy one of these missile silos. Y'all are welcome. Come join.
Them are nice. Have you seen the videos on the missile silos that's been converted into houses and apartments? They're
yes. Yes.
I don't know, man. I've been watching the show Silo, so I don't know if I actually want to go into one of those.
Oh, Zach, these are some interesting topics you brought up.
Good questions. Like some of them are really hard. Like,
I like these,
but in a good way. Yeah, I mean it in a good way.
What were you doing? What were you doing? Were you watching a movie and it was just like,
I think he was trying to find a way to get the movie guys onto his channel to talk about movies. I think that's all it was.
You sneaky little scamp, you. What we got here? All right.
Have you seen that video where the guy grows the garden of tomatoes from a Subway sandwich?
What? No.
Excuse me?
This guy goes to Subway and buys a sub sandwich and orders a bunch of extra tomatoes on it. Takes the tomatoes and puts them in little cups of dirt and puts them in a little terrarium until they start sprouting. Then he plants the seeds in his garden and grows these thousands of tomatoes from Subway sandwiches.
I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, that's how tomatoes work, right?
Well, why would you pay $15 for a foot-long sub when you go to the store?
Get a bag of seeds for 89 cents. Yeah. Now, it would be more impressive if he just took the whole sandwich and buried it, you know?
Was this during the $5 foot-long sub days? They don't exist anymore.
It's an old video, yeah.
That was my first job.
You could grow a whole garden full of tomatoes off of sandwich.
Oh, this is back when Jared wasn't in jail.
$15, it just didn't have tomatoes on it. You still got to enjoy sandwich.
If I need tomatoes, I'm not growing my tomatoes from Subways. The meat tastes like the receipt. I'm not buying my tomatoes from Subway.
I don't eat at Subway, but
yeah, I worked there. I don't eat there. Don't eat at Subway.
Any last words for tonight's discussion?
Too many.
My wife worked at Subway for a couple of years when we were married, And she'd bring Subway sandwiches home every freaking night. If I never see a Subway sandwich again, I'm not going to complain.
Oh, don't even get me started. Anyway, about disaster movies.
Oh, no. I like Cody's comment.
The receipts are also made of turkey. Everything is turkey. The bread is turkey. The cookies are turkey.
I've tried their different flavors of bread. They all taste the same.
They're all turkey.
Damn it. And it sucks as a truck driver, man, because that's one of the most restaurants that are attached to truck stops. Subway. I learned this lesson over the road. It's just like, there's always a Subway. There's always a Subway. And I liked it for a minute because, like, when I was homeless and struggling, I had some money. I'll go to Subway, get a $5 footlong, and, you know, eat half, save the other half like the next day. And truck driving is like, I went from the position to where it's like being in the bad position I was in. It's like, man, how am I going to eat? How am I going to eat? And I ended up in a position to, I don't know what I want to eat. Options. But going in and out of truck stops, a lot of them had Subway. If I had to stop and get some fuel, it's just like, oh, Subway. It's like, oh, fine. I'll get some Subway. I got sick of Subway. It was like, this meat is just tasting like nothing now. At a certain point, it's like you're eating air. I can't fully describe it, but yeah, the meat started to taste like the receipt. And I'm trying not to get back in that cycle again, but now I have 4 options: McDonald's, Hardee's, Arby's, and Subway. And those are like my main 4, unless I stop somewhere in a good populated area and take a walk. Go somewhere else.
Anyway.
Any last words for tonight's discussion?
Yes.
We're doing them right now.
I just think the bottom line.
Subway restaurant, bash McDonald's, and all the fast food crap on earth. Buy Slim Jim and be happy.
I think the bottom line, when it comes to disaster movies or disaster TV shows, if you take one lesson away from them, let it be that you should be prepared. Because in all these movies and all these TV shows, no matter how much they get wrong, the one thing they tend to get right is that the least prepared are the ones who fail. Then the ones who survive are the ones who have some sense of preparation. Even if it's an alien invasion or an earthquake or, the Poseidon adventure, it's the people who have the skills to survive are the ones who make it, So I think that's the one lesson you should take from it. Yeah. And I think that's perfect for this channel.
I think if you find yourself in a horror movie scenario, you should assume the lead character role because they usually survive. You don't want to be a secondary character in a real life situation.
Now, if you're the main character, though, you run the risk of having to sacrifice yourself at the end.
Now, you run the risk of having to sacrifice a few other people if you're the right character. Like in A Boy and His Dog, I'd be the guy walking off with the dog.
Yeah, I think Brady would too.
Poor Sick up there, he'd be the first one to get killed because he's black.
Oh,
come on, that was a horror movie. Buddy, I don't know what
low-hanging fruit.
I gotta go with which one was it?
Damn, I didn't even get to bring up War of the Worlds.
Oh, I forget which one it was, but it was one of Gibbs's rules, which basically relates. Well, I mean that one, but more or less rule.
Always keep a knife in your pocket because you just don't never know why it might come in handy.
That is a very important rule. I always have one, but that's part of thing.
I'm not wearing the sweater
On
with
me
the
right now.
knife in the pocket, but it's 5 feet from me.
But it goes back to well, I guess basically a trust issue. Don't Wow, I don't know how many times I've had to say this, but it is kind of relative, in the sense of don't believe the hype. Um, oh, that's the one it was. If you think you're being played, yeah, you probably are. Um, about don't go back to Public Enemy. Don't believe the hype. Um, always. That's the one it was. Basically, if you got doubt about something, double check. They tie in together. If you think something seems off, yeah, it might be off, so you might want to go double check it. Do not just rely on that straightforward information being given to you, especially in a situation where we got to survive. Question everything, and don't be afraid to hurt anybody's feelings. He's like, oh well, this guy is supposed to be the, or this girl is supposed to be the, or the they, them, he, shim, ze, za, zoo, ba, bye, or whatever pronouns they choose today is supposed to be the leader of the group. I shouldn't say anything and question them. No, question them. Question whoever the hell thinks they're the leader. If that hand thinks they're stronger than you, that was another one of the rules. Break it.
And call these right.
Hold on.
Always
Get up in
beware
their
of
face.
bratty.
Hey, here's something else real quick. If you're gonna do one of your little prep bags, you might want to pick up these little cans of something called canned heat. There's this little cans that have a gel in it, and you can light the gel. They use them to cook. They use them for fondue pots. I don't know if you've ever seen fondue
kind of like
pots.
Sterno, yeah.
Yeah, but you can keep these, and you can use them for heating water. You can use them for boiling water to make a ramen noodle soup. They're just.
Did you just say ramen noodle?
If they're cold, you can light a couple of them up and set them in the tent and warm the entire tent up and stay warm in the wintertime. I call it a necessity for my pack. I got 4 cans of that stuff in there right now, just in case of emergency. And even in the last couple of weeks when we had a power outage during the storm, I whipped out one of the little cans and held my pot over it and boiled water to make my coffee. Even in a regular situation, they can come in really handy.
That's actually a good tip. I like that one. Yeah.
Okay, you disgusting SOB. Did you just say ramen?
Ramen noodles, ramen noodles. Horrible noodles. You put in water.
Horrible noodles. There we go. All right.
Yeah, I got about 6 packs in there. I got about 6 packs in my bag just in case. But I hardly ever eat them things. I'm not a fan.
I don't know. Like, it's another one of those bratty situations.
You can eat them raw.
Like you have your friend Raymond and you make noodles out of him.
They're pretty good if you crunch up a bag of Cheez-Its in there with them.
Movies and shows have given us countless examples of why being prepared is crucial. They have shown the consequences of ignoring survival skills, the dangers of trusting the wrong people, and the importance of securing resources before disaster strikes. Fictional stories may dramatize survival, but they reflect real-world truths that cannot be ignored. Preparedness is not paranoia. It is a mindset that ensures safety and stability in an unpredictable world. Every lesson learned from these stories can be applied to real-life situations, making them valuable tools for understanding what it takes to endure hardships. Learning from mistakes is just as important as learning from successes. Time and time again, survival films depict characters who underestimate danger, overestimate their abilities, or fail to plan ahead. Seeing these mistakes play out on screen allows us to analyze and adjust our own preparedness strategies.
Well said.
Knowledge, skills, and the right mindset are far more important than simply having supplies. Understanding how to adapt, think critically, and respond to threats is what truly separates survivors from victims. No one knows what the future holds, but history has proven that crises can come without warning. Economic collapses, natural disasters, and civil unrest have happened before and will happen again. Those who prepare are not only protecting themselves but also ensuring the safety of their loved ones. The world is unpredictable, and being caught unprepared is a choice. Having food, water, medical supplies, and a security plan is not just a precaution, it is a responsibility. Preparedness is more than just physical survival. Mental and spiritual resilience are just as important. Isolation, fear, and uncertainty can break a person faster than hunger. Maintaining faith, staying mentally strong, and having a support system can make all the difference. Many survival stories highlight how the will to live is just as critical as any tangible resource. Strength comes from within, and no amount of gear can replace a determined mind and a strong heart. Survival is not about fear, it is about taking control of your own future. Being ready does not mean expecting the worst, it means being confident that no matter what happens, you have the skills and knowledge to handle it. The world will always present challenges, but with preparation, those challenges become obstacles rather than disasters. The more we learn, the more we share, and the more we grow as a community, the stronger we all become.
Dramatic pause.
To find anything unique prepping, visit the link pinned to the top of the chat. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share to help spread the message of preparedness. I love you all. The prudent man foreseeth the evil, and hideth himself, but the simple pass on, and are punished. Proverbs 22 verse 3 KJV. Stay prepared, stay unique, and God bless.
Amen.
All righty then.
Why do I keep...
Nutrient survival isn't just survival food. It's special ops grade. Built to the nutritional standards of the U.S. Special Ops and packed with 40 essential nutrients. Formulated to sustain energy, sharpen focus, and keep you and your family thriving during any emergency. Real food, real ingredients. Oh, and a 25-year shelf life. Our meals will kick your taste buds in the mouth and have them coming back for dessert. Yeah, we've got that too. So whether you're digging in or bugging out, you don't just survive an emergency situation, you thrive in it. Nutrient Survival. Feed your freedom.
Making moves like a chess piece, always on the grind in this game called life. Gotta sharpen up the mind. Unique prepping, got the vision locked and loaded. Every challenge that arises, I'm determined, I'm devoted. Stay ready for the call, enter life's demands, and we'll rise together. We'll take our stance. Unique prepping, it's more than a show. We're building foundations, we're ready to grow. Like, share, comment, let your voice be known. Together we can thrive, we're never alone. Every view, every like you support is the fire that keeps me hyped. Comment, depth, and insight, share the vision wide. This community's growing and we'll ride this tide. So go ahead and subscribe, don't miss a beat. Tune in next time, let's make this complete. Unique prepping, it's more than a show. We're building foundations, we're ready to grow. Like, share, comment, let your voice be known. Together we can thrive, we're never alone. Let that fire ignite. See you next time, let's keep it bright. Like, share, comment. Prepping, it's more than a show. We're building foundations. like, share, comment. Let your voice be known. Together we can thrive. We're never alone. You pushing forward, let that fire ignite. See you next time, let's make this complete. Unique prepping is more than a show. We're building foundations, we're ready to grow. Like, share, comment, let your voice be known. Together we can thrive, we're never alone. Never alone. Never alone. Keep pushing forward, let that fire ignite. See you next time, let's keep it bright. Yeah. Let that fire ignite. See you next time, let's keep it bright.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5 verse 9 KJV.